Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the webinar, Connecting Up Technology Donations Program Overview. My name is Sakina Vora and I'm the Volunteer Events and Marketing Officer here at Connecting Up. With me, I have Ryan Jones here, who is the Marketing Coordinator at Connecting Up. So before I hand it over to Ryan, I just wanted to go through some housekeeping notes. To those who are new, please feel free to type in your questions in the question box. We will try and make sure to answer all the questions during or at the end of the presentation. If you're facing any technical issues, like if you're having any audio issues or are unable to see the slides, please type in those issues as well. We will get them sorted out for you. This presentation is being recorded, and so everyone present will receive an email with a link to the recording and the slides by end of day today. So without further ado, I'll pass it on to Ryan.
Hi everyone, thanks for joining us today. Like Sakina said, we want to take the opportunity today to answer all of your questions. So if at any time during the webinar you have a question, type it in the question box, and I'll be stopping at the end of every slide to address any questions that people might have. The main focus of today's webinar is to make sure that everybody leaves having all of their questions about the donations program answered. And so feel free to ask us anything about the program at all, and we'll be happy to help. So I guess the first thing is, what is the donations program? So the program used to be called Donatech, for those that have been involved with us for some time, and the program is part of the TechSoup Global Network. So globally, organisations like ours, or not-for-profit organisations, run similar programs to this in about 40 countries. We run a similar program to this in 8 countries, Australia, New Zealand, and throughout Southeast Asia. So the core premise of the program is that technology companies such as Microsoft, Cisco, Adobe, Symantec, and others that you can see on the slide donate their products to Australian not-for-profit organisations. So they do that because they want not-for-profits to spend their money on service delivery and supporting the community instead of on IT equipment. So each donor partner has different areas of giving and different eligibility criteria, and they offer a different generous amount of software per organisation. And in some cases we can assist with any extra you may need outside of the donations program. One of the things that's a bit unique about this program is that we don't receive any funding for the program. So in order to keep the program sustainable, we charge a small administration fee on each order, which is generally about 4 to 8% of retail price. So the thing I get asked most often is, what are organisations doing with these donations? How can we benefit from the program? So the Microsoft donations program is clearly our most popular donations program. Microsoft alone in the past 6 years have donated somewhere in the region of $150 to $200 million worth of software in Australia alone. So through this program we find that most small organisations take the opportunity to upgrade all of their computers to the same version of Windows and Office, even if it's just 1 or 2 computers. It's often underestimated just how much of an impact having all of your organisation on the same version can make, because at least then you can send documents to your colleagues, they'll receive them and they'll be able to open them just as you intended. We generally find that larger organisations order a copy of Windows Server, and they use the savings from the Windows Server license to pay contractors to properly install and set up their server. So these servers can be used for anything from sharing files in a common area, sharing printers, or using something like Microsoft Exchange to host your own shared email and calendars. Now, one thing that I really want to discuss today is that it's important to note that Windows XP is currently being made end of life, is Microsoft's term, which means that it's coming up very soon now, it's in April, as of April, Microsoft will stop releasing security updates and patches for Windows XP, which means any organisation that has a computer running Windows XP potentially has a security risk in their organisation. So I highly recommend that any organisation still with Windows XP computers takes the opportunity to upgrade them to either Windows 7 or Windows 8, both of which are available through the donations program. One of the other big changes to the program in the last few months has been the addition of MYOB as a discount partner. Now we've been working with MYOB for some time to try and get a program up and running, and fortunately MYOB have come up with a great offer for not-for-profits. They've just revamped that in the last 2 weeks. They've increased their discount, and they've put some content on the website to make it a bit easier to pick the right accounting solution. So basically their accounting range in the discount program is split in two. You can get access to MyOb Live accounts, which is their purely cloud-based accounting solution, which means that it works on Macs and PCs, and you have the convenience of being able to send your accountant a link to your accounts rather than having to take USB drives or CDs into your accountants. Or there is the MyOb Account Write Live, which is kind of a hybrid between the two. You still get the functionality of being able to store your accounts information on the cloud, but you also get the ability to use a desktop program to manage them as well. So MYOB are discounting a large range of these to not-for-profits in Australia, and anything that's not available on our website, there is a phone number which I'll show you later on, which you'll be able to get connected to somebody at MYOB who understands the level of discount and understands the offer and can assist you with any specific requirements you might have. Microsoft 2013 is, well now it's been in the donations program almost a year. It's the latest version of Office, and it's more of an evolution of Office 2010. The interface is very familiar for people who've been used to Office 2007 and Office 2010, but it's got some great new features which enable you to work on documents and review as a team. You can see on the slide the little comments box. And it's available through the donations program as a standard and a professional plus version. Now the common question I get is, how do I know which one I need? And it's fairly simple. For the great majority of organisations, Office 2013 Standard will do everything you need and more. So Standard includes Word, Excel, PowerPoint, so the big three that a lot of organisations are using. You also get Outlook, Publisher, which I know a lot of organisations use for newsletters, OneNote, and SkyDrive Pro. So for a lot of organisations that's enough, but Professional Plus adds Microsoft Access for databases, InfoPath, Link, which manages your online communication. So if you've got access to a Link server in your organisation, you can use that to run your own private high-definition video server, and Business Contact Manager for Outlook. I know a lot of organisations use Business Contact Manager to manage their contacts almost like a mini CRM. So if you're doing that, then you need the Professional Plus version. So Microsoft Windows 8, hopefully a lot of you are familiar with Windows 8 at this point. Windows 8, or it's just released a Windows 8.1 update, is Microsoft's latest and greatest operating system. I'll be honest, it is a bit different to previous versions of Windows. The main thing that takes a bit of getting used to is this new start screen. Once you're used to it though, it's faster than previous versions of Windows, as well as being more secure and more reliable. If you're looking to upgrade away from Windows XP, then Windows 8.1, get on the latest version straight away is probably a good way to go. Windows 8.1 does address some of the issues around the start menu that people experience in Windows 8. We've been using it here in the office for a little while and we found it to be quite good. Has anyone got any questions at this point? Okay. So next we've got antivirus. Antivirus is one of the most common requirements we find, and at the moment we're about to launch another antivirus provider which you should receive an email about on Friday. But the main offers that we've got are Symantec, who donate their desktop and enterprise solutions, and we've got discounted solutions from Sophos, Kaspersky and Webroot. Now, Symantec desktop and enterprise solutions are basically geared to different size organizations. So for a small organization, say you've got 1 to 5 computers, Norton 360 in our experience is the most popular solution. It's very cheap, it's very easy to install and it's very easy to manage. Now there's also Norton Antivirus for Mac if you're a Mac user. And if you're a larger organization, Symantec Endpoint Protection has been the most popular solution. It's very low cost and it's easier to roll out into a large network than something like Norton 360. Now you have to renew your Symantec solutions yearly, and that's simply a case of going onto the website and ordering a new donation. And you can place 1 order per year for donated Symantec licenses. Now in terms of Sophos, Kaspersky and Webroot, they offer renewal licenses if you have already got one of their solutions. They also, a lot of them offer cross-grade solutions. I know Kaspersky in particular do. And what that means is that if you're using a copy of Sophos and you want to move to Kaspersky because there's a cost benefit or whatever the case might be, because Kaspersky offer that cross-grade license, you can convert your Sophos license into a Kaspersky license. And those are 2 good ways to save a bit of money on your antivirus. Now the main reason why you would go for something like a Sophos or Kaspersky instead of Symantec is because they're designed for large organizations and they include a lot of tools which aren't so much about managing your antivirus, but they're about managing all of the computers on your network, which we find are really good from an IT manager's perspective, but Kaspersky in particular includes a lot in terms of protecting mobile devices as well, which we've done a webinar on previously, but I'm happy to take questions on mobile device security as well. Now making PDFs is another very common question. A lot of organizations need to convert documents to PDFs. Now at the moment the Adobe donations program is closed, which means that Adobe Acrobat isn't available at the moment. But the good news is that as of Office 2013, you can actually produce PDFs straight out of Microsoft Office without any additional software required. And the even better feature is that you can now edit PDFs in Office 2013. So it depends on the complexity of your documents, but for many organizations, this may be just what you want to produce basic PDFs that tick all your boxes. And if that's the case, you don't need to invest in extra software, which means that we're all getting a better deal, which is the main thing about the program. All right, we've got a question.
Yes, we do have a question here. It's from Irene. She says, our organization is upgrading Windows on all our computers, but intend to migrate to Windows 7 because decision makers have been advised that Windows 8 is buggy. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yes, certainly.
Certainly in our experience, Windows 8 hasn't been buggy. Windows 8.1 has addressed some of the bugs that people have experienced, but in my personal experience, no, Windows 8.1 doesn't suffer from any particular bugs. The bigger issue when I speak to people about Windows 7 versus Windows 8 is a lot of people are resistant to the change in interface. It is a learning curve, absolutely, but there is a learning curve moving from Windows XP to Windows 7 as well. And I think given that there's always going to be a learning curve, it may actually be easier to learn the new interface now rather than having to learn the Windows 7 interface and then having to learn Windows 8 again later on when it becomes Windows 9, for example. But certainly, no, we haven't seen any of those kind of bugs ourselves. Most of it use it daily in the office, and yeah, no issues here. And while I've paused, are there any other questions at this point? No, okay. So we'll go on with fundraising for now. A lot of people ask about fundraising management, different tools that can be used. GiftWorks is a great fundraising and donor management tool for not-for-profits, particularly small not-for-profits. It was designed specifically for not-for-profits and can be used to track donors and donations. It includes some really great features in terms of reporting and sending emails, allowing you to really drill down to your donor database. Now, that's really good for small organisations because you can get up and running relatively fast. But for larger organisations that might require more advanced fundraising management, Microsoft Dynamics is a CRM system, which is a customer or constituent relationship management system, and it can be developed into a solution to track donors. Now, the learning curve for Microsoft Dynamics might be higher, but there are templates to set up Dynamics for your requirements, and there are a number of providers who can set this up for you. So Microsoft Dynamics is a much bigger whole of organisation solution to achieve the same thing that GiftWorks can, but it's a lot more customizable. So it may be a perfect solution for some larger organisations.
So we have a couple of questions here. The first one is from Melissa. Regarding Office Professional 2013, can an interactive PDF be created? Example, a form that can be filled in online and returned by email.
My understanding is no, but I haven't tried it, to be honest, and you're the first person to ever ask about forms in PDFs. So if you want to send me an email after the webinar, I'll be happy to look into that for you. I know that Acrobat Professional, the newest version, could not be easier to set up forms, but I'm not quite sure about that question, so I'll get back to you.
We have another question here from Niaz. Will there be a new Windows 9 available this year?
Not that Microsoft has confirmed.
I read a lot of this kind of stuff online, and it sounds like there's going to be an 8.2, for example, but I haven't heard anything about a Windows 9 this year. It's probably best to wait until Microsoft confirm what they're doing there. One thing that I haven't mentioned so far, though, is that almost all of the software that Microsoft donate through the donations program includes software assurance. And what software assurance does is it gives you 2 years of free upgrades that you just have to download from the Microsoft Volume License Service Center, which means that if you ordered Windows 8.1 now and you upgraded to Windows 8.1, if Microsoft release Windows 9 towards the end of the year, then it's as simple as logging into the Microsoft Volume License Service Center and downloading the software. With the Windows 7 to Windows 8.1 upgrade, you can actually do what's called an in-place install, which means that Windows 8 can be installed straight over the top of Windows 7, retaining all your documents, which is a great time saver, but you can't do that with previous versions of Windows. So if you've got computers running XP or Vista, then you would have to always do a clean install of Windows 7 or Windows 8. So I hope that kind of answers the question. But the software assurance is a great benefit, and I should also mention it allows you to downgrade too. So if you ordered Windows 8.1 and you tested it on a couple of computers and you found that it didn't quite suit your organization, you can just download Windows 7 from the Microsoft Volume License Center and you can have a look. And I'll show you a bit about that later on. So let's have a look at grants management. Grants management is another one that I get a lot of questions about. Organizations who've got grants, they have particular activities, particular milestones, or it might be a really complex grant where you need to manage lots of different projects at lots of different times. Normally when we talk to organizations, Microsoft Projects seems to be a very popular solution for managing these projects and the implementation of these activities. Depending on which version suits your organization, you can manage tasks and programs, milestones, and other project management requirements on one computer, or there is a version of Project Server that can be installed on your Windows Server, which allows everybody in the organization, everybody who's working on the grant project, to manage their own tasks as they go through. Which means when you need to report back to your funders, it's very easy because it's all in one place. Now, one thing that kind of happened when we renamed the donations program away from Donatech is we created this distinction between the donations program and the discounts program. So the discounts program is very similar to the donations program, except that these organizations are discounting their products instead of donating. So this range includes everything from discounted charity licensing for Microsoft and Adobe, through to refurbished computers, antivirus, and more. Now the discounted charity licensing for Microsoft and Adobe provides additional licenses and expanded eligibility compared to the donations program, and there's also some software available through the discount program that isn't available through the donations program. The obvious example there would be Adobe Creative Cloud for Teams, which is Adobe's new cloud-based creative suite. That's not available through the donations program at this point, but it is available through the discounts program. Refurbished computers are our most popular discount program, and this includes discounted refurbished Mac and PC, desktop computers and laptops, with a growing amount of printers, monitors, and other items that you have all asked us for. And then we have solutions like Antivirus from Kaspersky, Sophos, and WebRoot, which again is designed for more larger organizations. The other popular program through the discounts program is the D-Link discount program, which provides organizations with discounted networking equipment and also network storage. So if you're after an easy backup solution that you can connect to your network, then D-Link have that. They also have video surveillance equipment if you've got a particular security problem, a whole range of different things suit any organization. So like I said, with the refurbished computers, there are desktops and laptops, there are PCs and there are Macs. Now all the PCs are refurbished by Microsoft authorized refurbishers, and they're cleaned up, they're tested, and they're pre-installed with Windows 7 Professional and Office 2010 Home and Business. Now what that means for a lot of organizations is that it contains all the software that they need to get up and running very fast. No additional software to install and no additional software to purchase or have donated through the program, which is a great cost saving. Some organizations will still need to look at different versions of Office, which include Access and the like, but in the main they get a lot of the solutions that they need.
We have a question here from Donna. Can you order refurb computers in bulk? For example, 15 of the same PCs with the same specifications.
Absolutely, and if you're ordering 15 PCs of the same specification, not only can we make sure that it matches, but we can also, our refurbished supplier actually gets a discount on freight for over 10 machines. And so that discount's reflected on the website. I think it's about a 5% discount on orders over 10 machines. So if you specifically want 15 identical machines, I'd probably recommend that you contact customer support before you place your order, and we can go back to our refurbished supplier and make sure that we get the right specification of machine for your organisation. One other cool thing that's coming with the refurbished computers, hopefully by the end of the month, is that now that Microsoft owns Skype, Skype is going to start to be pre-installed on these computers as well, which is handy if your organisation is using Skype. We use Skype internally for all of our communication, and Skype's also soon going to have access to link servers as well. So it's a really good, just an added benefit with the refurbished computers. Alright, now I have a couple more slides, but what I might do at this point is go to the website. So a couple of common questions is, with all of our donation and discount partners having different eligibility criteria, how do you know which partners you actually qualify to place orders from? Well, we've tried to make this as easy as possible, and when you go to the website, once you've logged in, you'll see this bar up the top will have a My Account link. Hopefully you can see that I'm circling that now. It will load your account information page, okay? So it tells me here that I am qualified for technology donations and discounts. Great, okay, I've filled all the paperwork out, I've got my qualification and I'm ready to go. So what can I actually get through the donations program? So I click that and it comes up and it tells me that I am eligible for all of these partners here. And if I click on any of those partners' names, it'll take me directly to a page which shows all of their products. It shows me that I am not eligible for the Net Leverage Donations Program or Adobe Charity Licensing. And it also shows me that I haven't actually applied for eligibility for the Microsoft Discount Program. So that's fine. If I want to get access to the Microsoft Discount Program, it's as simple as contacting customer support and filling out a form. But I can use this to I can click on Microsoft and I can go straight to the page with all of the Microsoft donated software on it. So it's very easy because it's all in one place, and I can go through and I can go, okay, well, Office 2013 standard is the most popular, so it's up the top, and I can just go through there and find the software that I need. Now, if you've already placed some Microsoft orders and you find the whole the Microsoft guidelines a bit confusing, if you click on this link here for the Microsoft Donation Center, it'll take you to a really helpful page which shows everything to do with your Microsoft donations. So how the Microsoft Donations Program works is are able to access a certain amount of licenses in a 2-year period, and that 2-year period starts from when you place your first Microsoft order. So if you place your first order today, your current 2-year Microsoft donation cycle will show as beginning today. Donation has been requested. I haven't requested any, so it hasn't given me a date yet. But what it does is it gives me the rules at a glance. So very basic version of the rules, which says that I can request donations from up to 10 different Microsoft title groups. An example of a Microsoft title group might be Microsoft Office or Microsoft Windows, and I can request up to 50 licenses per Microsoft title group. So in the Microsoft Office title group, I can request up to 50 different licenses. So what that might mean is I can order 25 copies of Office Standard, and 25 copies of Office Professional. It gets a bit trickier when you start to look at server licenses, where you can request up to 5 server licenses total rather than in specific title groups. But this is where this page comes into its own. It shows you how many title groups you've ordered from or you've used, and it shows you how many more you can order from. Also, once I've placed a couple of orders, it will show me here my Microsoft Office title group, and it will show me how many licenses have been ordered in that title group and how many more I can order within my 2-year period. It can also show you the total retail value of your Microsoft software donations, which can be a bit scary if you've ordered a lot, but it's great that Microsoft can make that contribution to not-for-profits. And it also shows all of the donations you've received in the cycle down the bottom of the page. So everything to do with your Microsoft donations, your history, and what to order from then is all on this Microsoft Donation Center page. And you've never looked at this page before, I highly recommend you visit it and you take a bit of a look, and hopefully that'll be really helpful to managing your Microsoft donations. Now, a couple of other things I'll take the opportunity to explain. You'll see here that my profile says that I am 68% complete. Okay, so what that means is if I want to be 100% complete, I can find my listing on the directory, so Connecting Up's directory of not-for-profits and charities, and I can link that to my account. The 68% doesn't make any difference to your donations and discounts registration, but being able to update that directory listing just increases your visibility on our directory and your visibility to potential donors and funders through our programs. And the other thing is our membership program. It's almost a year old. We're going to have to get a cake, but it can offer you some great discounts for events such as webinars. But the really good thing for organisations that think, hey, this donations program is fantastic, but I just don't know what I need. Well, through the memberships program, you can get an hour of one-on-one mentoring with any of our trained mentors, and we can go through your specific IT requirements, and we can help you with what you might need out of the donations program, or if it's not available through the donations program, what you might need to organise to get the best out of your IT systems. Now, that pretty much brings us to the end of what I wanted to cover for this webinar. So if anybody has anything in particular that they want me to show them on the website or any particular questions, I will stay here and answer as many as I can while we're here.
We do have a question here from Irene. She says, how do I become eligible for the Adobe donation scheme? She cannot see any separate paperwork apart from that which I can be filled to be eligible for the Microsoft donations.
The great thing about the donations program is once you've registered your organisation, it's only the one form that you need to fill out for the donations program, and then when new partners come on board, we automatically verify your organisation depending on our partners' eligibility criteria. Now, without knowing more about your organisation, it's difficult to be able to tell why you're not qualified for Adobe donations, but the best thing to do would be to contact customer support with your organisation name, and they can have a quick look at your information, and they'll be able to tell you whether you can become eligible or whether it just doesn't fit with Adobe's specific area of giving. The other thing I should highlight too is that the Adobe donations program is currently closed, and apparently it will be reopening later in the year, but we don't have any fixed news on that at this point in time.
We have a question here from Michelle. Can you talk more about mobile phone security systems?
Sure.
Sure. So mobile phone security and mobile device management, there's kind of two areas around this that organizations need to be aware of. The first is that because there's so many smartphones out on the market now, there are more and more nefarious people who are writing viruses specifically to target mobile phones. Particularly Android mobile phones, but also they're becoming more common on Apple's iOS. Now, those can range from anything from trying to get your personal information to disabling your phone. So what's becoming more common is people like Kaspersky are releasing mobile phone antivirus solutions, which just scan mostly your incoming emails and things like that to make sure that your phone's protected. But the other really important area around mobile device security is this idea of configuring your phone so that it has now that a lot of us are bringing our personal mobile phones and our personal devices to work. I know that I use my personal mobile phone for lots of business calls. It's on my email signature. A lot of people ring it. But what happens if I lose that mobile phone? Well, does it contain proprietary information to the organization? Or for some of you, does the mobile phone have client information accessible in it? Well, the great thing about some of these mobile device managers is that they can effectively petition your phone into a business petition and a personal petition. And if your phone got lost, well, the network administrator or your IT manager or whoever it is can destroy the business petition on your phone. And when they do that, it's effectively just erasing all of the information from the phone, which means that all of the secure data, all of the client records, whatever it is, doesn't get into the wrong hands. The side effect of that also is that if an employee leaves the organization, they get to keep their phone, but you can disable that, that work-related petition remotely. It's just a good way of being able to manage this information and being able to ensure peace of mind and to be able to ensure that you continue to respect the privacy of your clients.
So we have another question from Irene. What's the difference between eligibility for Adobe and Adobe charity licensing?
One of the big differences is Adobe donations have a specific budget limit. So if you registered a long time ago, you might not remember this, but when you register for the donations program, you do have to give us a budget figure in terms of turnover of your organization. And if that changes significantly over time, it's a good idea to send us a copy of your last audited financials, because then we can update that information. Adobe, along with some of our other donations partners such as Cisco and Symantec, limit eligibility based on the size of an organization. So I think for Adobe it's about $10 million. So if your organization turns over more than $10 million a year, you won't be able to access the Adobe donations program, but you can still access the Adobe discounts program. The other thing with the discounts program is that it's a much bigger range. I said before about Creative Cloud, but there's also a range of different enterprise grade, anything from print management solutions to online signatures and everything in between is available through that discounts program. And I mean, in terms of other aspects of eligibility, it really depends entirely on the organization. But Adobe do have, just like all of our donation partners, Adobe have their own specific areas of giving, and they don't donate to all of the organizations through the donations program, but they do donate to a large percentage.
We have another question here from Niaz. If you put the security software on mobile, will it affect or will it make it run slower?
No, my understanding is it doesn't have any impact on the speed. It probably depends on which one you go for as well and how aggressive it is. A solution that's constantly scanning will, over time, run the battery flat faster. But these days, smartphones are pretty powerful, so it doesn't seem to make a dent on performance.
So that was our last question, Ryan. Do you want to add anything at the end?
Not at this stage. If anyone has any more questions, this is a good opportunity. If you think of some later on, you can email me. My email address is rj@connectingup.org, and Sakina will send my email address out after the webinar with a copy of the recording. So if you watch it and you suddenly remember something, or you want to know why something is the way it is, or you want to know if we can, even if we can get something that's not currently available, then just send me an email and I'll be happy to look into it for you.
Thank you, Ryan. I just wanted to add, we are having 2 webinars on Windows 8 and Office 13. Please do check our events page for more details. So this is the end of our webinar today. Thank you everyone who could join us today. As Ryan mentioned, we will be sending an email with the link to the recording and the slides. So until next time, thank you everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.